everybody. Welcome to another episode to Behind the Arc podcast. On my left, we have
Dorica.
And on my right, we have
Emily.
And it's your girl Lele back on your screen. So today today's the 8th episode, and today we're going to be talking about resistance. So now, before we even get into the questions, I want to ask you guys, what does resistance mean to you guys?
I think resistance is the ability to be able to control yourself and to be able to push something away and stand on business, stand on what you want to do. So just being able to reject things.
In my opinion, I think resistance just means being able to how do I say this? Not go for what people say and just do you. Resist being like other people or trying to match other people's energy or anything. Maybe just be your authentic self.
Okay. Now we're going to get into the questions of the podcast. The first one is, what does peer pressure look like for you?
So basically, in my opinion, peer pressure is just when let's say you're in a party, in a situation, and they're telling you drink when you kind of don't drink or you don't want to, and they're just saying, oh, do it, and they don't necessarily have to force you, but just you're trying to please them or stop them from just bothering you, and you just do it. That is basically what peer pressure is.
Peer pressure to me is because people in situations, people will tend to try to persuade you into doing things, but then they over persuade you, because when usually in situations like this, you can encourage somebody to do something, but it gets to a point. If you clearly see that they're uncomfortable doing it, then you just stop trying. But peer pressure is basically forcing something on somebody, and even it doesn't even have to be physically, but sometimes people, like what Emily was saying, people just want to please others, be a people pleaser. So they'll feel forced to do things even though they're uncomfortable with it.
Why do y'all think people peer pressure other people? Why do y'all do you think they find happiness or joy? What is it?
Sometimes I feel they don't do it on purpose. Sometimes they just want you to get out there, try new things. Mm-hmm. But some people just take it to another level. When somebody says no more than 3 times, just stop, and they don't understand that. But yeah.
A lot of people
sorry.
A lot of people really just want to corrupt you. I feel how do I explain this? In some situations, people will take a liking to other people and try to corrupt them so that they'll end up being like them. And really, it just goes downhill from there, because it just becomes a one-sided situation. You're just doing everything to try to be and please this person, knowing you're not comfortable with it. So it's really, some people will just really corrupt you into doing that.
Okay. So I feel you already got into the next question, but have you ever had to resist peer pressure before? Or have y'all ever had to resist peer pressure before?
In my experience, I'm not gonna say that it's peer pressure, but maybe somehow, the other day for me, I was able to resist peer pressure. Somebody was telling me, oh, try this, and I just said no, I don't like it, I don't find pleasure in doing it, and they just let me be.
Oh
well yeah, and they respected my choice, and I'm very grateful for that. But that is also an example of peer pressure, and you can resist it. You definitely can. It's just self-control.
Self control. Okay. Self control.
That's he. I've definitely experienced peer pressure before, but I'm actually like pretty good at resisting it because I simply just say no. Like if I don't want to do it, I'm not gonna do it, and especially for somebody else's benefit. But yeah, I used to have like friendships where they would peer pressure me into doing stuff, but I wasn't my head like I wasn't in that mindset, and I wasn't going in the same path of direction they were. So that's why I was able to resist because I knew that's not what I wanted for myself.
I kind of forgot the question. I was setting up here. I'm sorry. What did I ask? Or
How has
wait. Okay, never mind. No.
Oh, have you ever resisted peer pressure?
I could. Yes, I have. Yes, I feel like, cause I'm not. As y'all see me, I could be a bubbly person, but like I'm a real private. Like I like to go ahead, DS. Press the button.
I know nothing
Like-
about this girl. Not gonna.
But like, there was a situation before where I was friends with this girl. You know the girl, but I'm pretty sure you'll
We're
put your.
probably talking about the same girl.
Okay, so like she's a very social media girl. Like she just likes to be on social media, and she anytime she's around friends, she's just on live, wants to do everything, and it's just like sometimes you just want to be in the moment. Like, why you want to be over here like. Like,
It's the same
Looking like
exact
that.
song she used.
Looking like the aunties on live for every
like,
single
like,
thing.
come on now. So it's like, but I feel like over time, I just say no, and it's like if you keep telling me, like, I'm just not gonna feed into your energy because ain't nobody finna make me do something that I don't want to do.
Yeah, especially with this girl. Like at some
So-
point, I feel like you just get tired of her.
Oh.
Like trying to peer pressure you.
Just say no. Like,
You just get tired of it, so you just like, no, I don't want to do this.
So I want to go back to the title of the whole episode, resistance. What are your biggest fears about resistance?
my biggest
Sorry.
fear about resistance is that sometimes people don't take no as an answer, and you might be forced. And if you are in that situation, you feel helpless, and even after, maybe even if they tell you it's not a big deal, think about how you would feel. Always do not let other people think, like, make you think that whatever they're pressuring you to do is nothing, because to you it is something, and that is the only opinion that matters.
She got 2 claps.
Got real deep with it.
She got 2 claps. Like, okay.
But, I think my biggest fear about resistance is in certain situations, I feel like the feeling of not being able to resist something can maybe force somebody into a dangerous situation. Because if they're doing something that they don't want to do, and it's something very like troubling, then they can get themselves into a real mess. And when it's time for them to be held accountable for it, they almost can't blame anybody for their actions because they went and did it anyway. But you had a choice to not do it, and you went and did it anyway. So that can just end out as a real like consequence for you. And at the end of the day, people are gonna tell you have nobody to blame but yourself because you still went ahead and did the action.
She ate that one. Like,
How would you confront or go about somebody peer pressuring you?
I mean, personally,
besides saying no, because I feel like if we was in that situation, is like us just saying no, it would be like, why you not accepting no as an answer? Like,
and also sometimes you say it giggling, and they might think you're joking when you're not. Like,
and some people be a little
I
in
feel
the
like
head, you know?
yeah.
I
I feel like in some situations there are other ways to say no without actually saying no, because I know some people are not comfortable, like can't bring themselves to just say no. So sometimes like maybe you can like have an excuse like, nah, right now I have to do something, or if you really feel like you're being peer pressured to a point where you really need help, maybe like a friend can help pull you away and things like that, like just to bypass it without like really telling them no if you can't bring yourself to tell them no.
Okay.
Like, just like how Darika said, like, don't ever think that you're the only person that is actually like feeling peer pressured. Ask other people, do you actually want to do this? Do you actually want to do like what's going on? And they will probably back you up and get you out of that situation. So always seek for help when you most need it, no matter the situation.
Okay. How has resisting peer pressure changed your life?
It has let me like live my life how I want to live it and write my own story, basically. In the past, I would let people, oh yeah, you have to do this, you have to do that, come on, do it because you like, I'm doing it, so you should do it. And that's not how things work at all. And it took me a while to realize I'm the one that has to live with what I did, not them. So they could care less that they're pressuring me into doing this or that. They could care less that if it's a bad thing or not, because I'm the one that's going to have to deal with it at the end of the day. And I'm the only person that can take the blame.
I feel like for me, it's because I know that personally, if I were to do something that I wasn't comfortable doing, I'm going to be like holding it over me for a long time because I knew that I wasn't comfortable. So, like, just by resisting it, I feel like I have more self control and more self respect for myself. And also, I feel like in situations, it can really show you who your real friends are. So, like in a situation, if I was being like peer pressured and they weren't taking no for an answer, then I know that that's not my real friend, because things like peer pressure can really strain friendships, and you should never be in an uncomfortable situation to the point where you're being peer pressured by this one person all the time and you're still letting it happen and you're in an uncomfortable situation. But now that knowing that I'm able to resist that just makes me more happier in control of my life.
My sis got boundaries. Do you guys think that there are situations where peer pressure is positive? Because peer pressure doesn't always have to be negative, where it involves alcohol, drugs, or any type of substance, or anything bad type, you know? Because it could be like, encouraging positive behavior and stuff like that. So have y'all ever been in a situation where y'all were peer pressured to do something better?
Yeah, even being on this podcast. like even like I like it's not.
I ain't peer pressure her. I just asked her
No,
one.
Mr. D is in the back.
Oh.
Was peer
What was I
pressuring
to
me
say?
for months,
Your
and
tea
I
is hot.
finally gave in. And I'm just gonna say this. Even this is my first time doing it. I'm so grateful for even trying, because this is really out of my comfort zone. I avoid cameras at all. Like I don't speak in public, even though I'm loud. But yeah, peer pressuring is good when it has a benefit to your life. Always, if it makes you improve in life, if it puts you out there in a good way, do it. Definitely listen to that good peer pressure.
I feel like in situations where, like, for example, like if a person was shy and they were being encouraged to get out there more, that could be really beneficial for them, because it'll give them more like exposure to other people and they can make other friends and stuff like that. And also, like, personally, I've recently like been going through something, and I've been like by some very important adults in my life. I've been like, they have given me advice to just like do the thing that I've been avoiding this whole time. And I feel like that's when it becomes good peer pressure, because if I do the thing that I've been avoiding the whole time, it's going to take the weight off my shoulders and it's going to allow me to feel more free. So, exactly what Emily was saying, peer pressure is good when it has a benefit to it. Like, you're getting something out of it and you're getting closure.
Never gonna regret it. Like, you're gonna be thankful that you did it for the rest of your life. Think about it.
sometimes you gonna wish you did it sooner. So,
How about
but
you, Lele? Like,
me-
tell us some like good things about peer pressure.
Ciao. We could be here for hours, but like, I guess just learning to be okay with being by myself, or like I don't need nobody. So it's like the only reason why I put that in, I was being peer pressure in a positive way. This is laughing in the back. Is because it's like I was in a relationship or whatever, and I was so wrapped around it that it was like, okay. It was like my main focus. Like I was doing everything in my power. And now I really, no offense to y'all. I love y'all. But like I really don't mind who stands next to me. You know what I mean? Like I don't care if I'm walking in the hallways by myself, because at the end of the day, you gonna go home by yourself, be by yourself, sleep by yourself, have to wake up and face your life by yourself. So it's like nobody else is gonna be there but you.
Clock that T.
But that doesn't mean to be lonely and be alone and, you know, shut everybody out and build this wall, because there's could be people that's going through the same thing that you're going through, and talking helps, or writing, everything. Or in my case, you know, I have a sapis. Mr. Diaz. And praying too. So
Yep.
praying too helps. But besides that, Diaz has helped me overcome a lot of things that I've said I would never do, or like, no, I'm not. Like, why would you ever? But looking back now, I wish I would have just accepted it or did it when he first told me to do it. So
Yeah.
you had a real strong reaction when I said relationship. So
What do you mean? No, cause like I know who you're talking about. So I'm like, oh, we're not gonna mention that.
I seen it from the corner of my eye. I was like, shoot, don't we know about
But it's
that?
not only about relationships, because like, you know,
No, it
I had to grow to be like a person, like responsibilities, high school's getting serious, life starting to get serious, like.
And I'm not gonna lie, Lele, like I don't tell her, I don't tell nobody, but this girl, I kind of like she, I don't know, she's like an inspiration to me, because I see that like even though she's alone, like sometimes like I could find her alone. She's chilling. I'm like, she is chilling. She doesn't need nobody, and
Nobody.
exactly, like you could see her jamming out music, looking crazy in the back, but she's adorable and she's herself. She
Thank
is
you.
who she is, and she is unapologetic about it.
Clock that
And not.
T.
Cause hello, what am I gonna apologize for being myself for?
Right.
Mind you, a lot of people would have a problem for some damn reason. Like,
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, you're not gonna be liked by everybody. So it's like,
exactly. But this girl, she really don't care. Like in a good way, she does not care.
I be shy. Like I have a talent show, and she's in a talent show right here. She probably still gets nervous. But like I only have one line. I'm only gonna be on stage for like 6 seconds while I'm on that stage. But the good peer pressure will be like, hello, it's only gonna be done in 6 seconds. It's gonna be quick, and I'm gonna rock that part. So
period. Energy.
any add-ons?
Shoot, we got so off track. I barely remember what the original question
Yeah, we
was.
just started yapping up.
Yap
I'm
City.
gonna skip a question because I feel like we already answered it, which was, what's the best ways for, unless y'all want to say anything, but what's the best way to resist peer pressure?
First things first, if you are around people that you know do things that you don't like doing, place yourself out of there, because they will pressure you into doing it. Like if you don't like smoking, get yourself away from those people, because they're gonna get annoyed and of you just standing there looking dumb. Like no, like get away, like place yourself into, you're gonna find a certain group of people that do things that you do, and they're not gonna force you. Well, they might, but you know.
You're gonna be considered boring when you guys hang out.
Yeah, like, oh, she don't do
I said
nothing.
yeah at the same time.
Like,
You also gotta learn to be very self-aware. Like if you know that you can get peer pressure easily, sometimes you just gotta say no and walk away, or just even walk away.
Yeah.
and not just self-aware. Be selfish. Like, be self. Like, I don't.
In those situations, be self.
Even if like they think, oh, she's mean. No, you're not being mean. You're being selfish because it's not even like not in a bad way, but like you need to think about yourself. Like they're not the ones that are gonna have to live with that. Like they already went through that. Like, come on.
It's not even a moment where you can necessarily be selfless because you're not doing anything for them.
Exactly.
Like you're doing it for you.
Exactly. Like people don't understand this.
You know, that term does change, but you know that's another topic. that's another topic. But for now, yeah, being selfish does come in clutch because don't let these people live your life for you. So,
Right.
so how important is it to have supportive friends when dealing with peer pressure? Yeah, how important is it to have supportive friends?
I think it's really important because honestly, without my friends, or at least like you don't even have to have friends. You can even have a singular friend that has your back, and that's all the support you need. You can even ask your mom, your dad, a teacher, a school counselor,
Mr.
anybody,
Diaz.
Mr. Diaz be backing everybody up, even if they're doing something like crazy. He
Don't
gonna
get it
guide you
twisted,
out.
though.
No, but
He
like
gonna hold you accountable. Though.
like if you do something crazy, he's gonna tell you your consequences, and if you still do it, he gonna
look at you like
He-
this because I can't raise my eyebrow that high.
Just, yup. But yeah, like that one person backing you up, it could literally push away so many negative things from your life because not only are you thinking about yourself, but you're thinking, I don't want to let this person down because there's some people that need that like extra support, right? So yeah.
Growing up, I felt like I was always kind of like a little bit of a people pleaser, especially when I had like a close friend like who would peer pressure me all the time, and I felt like I wanted everybody
Get
to
into
like
it.
me.
Who was the close friend?
Drop
Spill
names.
the tea.
Don't do it.
You know the
Oh no,
close
don't
friend.
drop names because
I'm not.
Oh,
yeah.
don't listen
I'm not
to me,
trying
though.
to start beef. But yeah, and I feel like growing up, like it took me a while to realize what I was like missing, but I realized that I needed to see an example of like somebody just being themselves to really get a sense of like to have the mindset that at the end of the day there's always going to be somebody that doesn't approve of you or doesn't like you. And so like growing up, like I could use Sandra as an example, like seeing her like just vibing by herself and being happy with herself was all that really matters because like she said, at the end of the day you're only going home with yourself and you're only going through what you're going through by yourself. So I just really needed to see an example of that, and then once I saw that example I began to learn like I'm doing everything I'm doing for myself, nobody else, and I don't need nobody at the end of the day. So I feel like that's a really important example, and I feel like everybody needs that type of role model in their life, whether it's a parent or a teacher or a friend or like anybody. I feel like that example can be good to pass on to people.
okay, she pouring her heart out on this podcast. How does your sense of self-worth and confidence play a role in resisting peer pressure?
I think it really has to do a lot because it's hard. Like maybe like I remember when I was younger, middle school, that awkward phase of like being insecure, thinking that you're not worthy of whatever this and that. Like I would do like I would get peer pressure to do certain things, and I would do it. It's nothing bad on like it wasn't like nothing out of this world, y'all. Like don't ever don't think it's something crazy.
Right,
But
I was finna ask.
no, it's nothing crazy. It's like staying out too long. Like, even like, it's dumb, but still, like, staying out at the park too long with my friends, like, that was just it. But still, I got in trouble at home, and that made me realize, like, I don't care what they think about me, because I'm the one that's gonna regret it. My mom's over here yelling at me because
Right.
I stayed out too long at the park. Like, no, y'all are not getting yelled at. I am. So no, like, be confident with yourself. And even though you're boring, you're a scaredy cat. Yeah, be boring. Be a scaredy
It
cat.
be them bad ass that be smelling like sweat. Going home with their knees all dirty and freaking dirt all under their fingertips on the fingernails from playing soccer.
Always them. But like, yeah, like, just don't, like, as many names as you may be called, you know who you are, and there's nothing that could change. If you are a nice person, you are a nice person because you know you are, and you're not harming anybody else for being selfish. I'm sorry, like, people think, like, no, I can't stay out, like, that's it. It could even be like, no, I don't want to eat your chips. Like, it could be so simple, but like,
Especially nowadays, who wants to be out that late?
Exactly.
Really?
Like, the other day there was a party in the front of my house.
Oh
I was
my-
mad
ooh.
as hell, bro. Ooh, don't get me started
We're
on
getting
that
old.
one.
Like, we can't be out here doing this.
Like, I know y'all know what party we talking about. Like,
y'all were loud. If y'all seeing it, y'all were loud. Please
Some of
don't
y'all was
do that.
probably there.
Please don't do that
why
again.
would the party ever get moved, and why did they go with them?
It got
Like,
moved
it was just
4 times, mind
Like,
you.
the DJ was cursing y'all out.
4
Please,
times.
the DJ was cursing y'all out.
bro.
But, self-respect is really, like, really important. And that's, like, an understatement. Because I feel like, I mean, there have been times where I felt like, oh, like, I'm going to be discluded because I'm not doing this one thing or whatever. And it's really important because, like, self-respect plays a big role in how you control your life. Because you have to know when to stick up for yourself and stand on business. Like, there was a time, I've been learning how to have more self-respect because there was a time where I was in a relationship and I kind of lost all control of my self-respect. And it took a while for me to start regaining it. I've gained some of it back, but I've learned to speak up more and tell people how I feel and learn when to say no. So, like, that's really important because you can't let other people control your life, because then you're going to be wondering how your life would have went if you hadn't done this one thing. And it would have been totally different. So it's like self-respect, and I feel like a lot of people in this school need to learn self-respect. And I feel like if we all learn self-respect, we would all be able to have mature conversations. So I feel like that would be really beneficial for everybody.
How you learn how to say no? Because I be saying no and I be feeling bad. That's true. Yikes.
Well, honestly, I feel like because I used to, like, sometimes when I would say no, I would kind of, like, how do I explain this? I would kind of, like, downplay my feelings a little bit.
Okay.
And so it's like you just have to, when saying no, you just have to tell the person why you're saying no and not downplay your feelings, because at the end of the day, everybody has different feelings and they're going to feel how they feel at the end of the day. Like, you're not going to, even if somebody calls you weird for feeling the way you are, you're not weird. Like, it's just how you feel. So you just have to really just, like, not downplay your feelings and just tell them why you're saying no. And if they're questioning it, then that's a problem.
That's a day problem.
Yeah.
And sometimes, this just spiked a light bulb. I like to say this, like, sometimes when you guys are in altercations with anybody, sometimes the issue isn't rising because of what's actually happening. Sometimes the issue rises because of their own being, like, mental being, what's going on with them, or like low self-esteem, like all of this. So all of that could just be projected and onto you just to make you feel like a type of way.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I feel like in situations is, like, personally, whenever I'm in a difficult situation, I, like, take a few days to collect myself, to collect, like, my emotions and figure out how I'm feeling before I just start, like, yapping in their face, like, because I could be projecting, like, all, like, the adrenaline and stuff onto them, knowing that and sometimes the situation won't even be that big of a deal, but it's just the adrenaline rushing. So that's why it's good to like wait until you can like find the words to say and then say it to their face.
To add on to what Derica did, in my personal experience, whenever I used to do this a lot, like I would react based off of my emotions. Like the moment it happened, I had to respond. And I'm pretty sure she witnessed it multiple times. I don't know if you did, but this was a lot. And because of that, it took me, like, I don't know why, but I shut myself out because I was regretting the way I reacted. And I would stop myself from feeling anything. Like the moment I would get angry, I would try to, like, I don't know how to explain, like, I would just not accept those feelings and just like, no, I'm not angry. I'm not gonna like, and like when something was happening, I would just not address it. Knowing you should, but because I just felt bad. And also, I feel like peer pressure could even be from yourself. You could give yourself peer pressure because nobody has to say anything, but then let's say you see other people, they're acting cool. You're like, in like, to yourself, you're like, oh, I have to be that way. I have to not care like them. I don't like peer pressure. People don't even have to say nothing. It could be a certain look and you already know, oh nah. Like, right. Oh nah.
I feel like that whole like self peer pressure plays a big role in middle school. Like, yes, coming into middle school, especially like our high school is middle school and high school, and we see each other, we be clashing into each other. So it's like when you come into a big school like this, it's like scary.
The middle schoolers are scarier than the high school. I'm just gonna say that. Like, these middle schoolers are scary. They're rude.
Mm-hmm. You know, sometimes that can come from insecurity, because I feel like yes, if somebody's peer pressuring you and you do it, you want to be just like them, but it can be like the same thing vice versa. Like, what if somebody's peer pressuring you because they haven't come to terms with the fact that they're not going to be like everybody else, so they want somebody to be like them. So it can be like both ways.
Yeah, like, I don't know, but peer pressure, like, you know when you're being pressured. Like, people could just, like, even like you walk into a room and they're just looking at you a certain way, like, whoa. Whoa, like, okay, now I gotta change my whole personality for a few hours.
Right. Sometimes it could just be tone of voice. Like, yes. Oh, I know what you're hinting at.
Or like they be passive aggressive.
Yes.
Like, yeah, no.
Don't even get me started on passive aggressiveness.
Oh my god. Oh, school is hard, y'all.
Speaking of school, how do you think schools can better support students and managing peer pressure?
By just starting a conversation about it. Because I don't know, maybe it's just this school, but without Mr. Diaz or some of the really helpful counselors, if they weren't here, this whole school would be a ruckus. Because remember, 9th grade, we didn't have these people. The hormones were crazy. Everybody was fighting. Everybody was fighting. Everybody was throwing hands. Everybody was cursing each other out.
Emotions were everywhere.
They didn't know how to talk. It was just hands. Like, it was just straight up hands. And now, I don't know, this school has, like, it's not the best school, but this school has really, transformed into something, like a place where you can actually talk or get to an agreement, because it used to be crazy. I don't know, man. I don't know, but
it's still crazy.
But it has some development. It's a work in the process.
It's under control.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Under construction.
I haven't seen no hands.
The construction?
And avoid altercations, please, guys. Like, I need my peace.
Right, because why would you even want to come into high school wanting to play that role of the mean girl? Or
and you can also be peer pressured into fighting.
Yes.
People don't realize your friends. Oh, you gonna let her do that to you?
Peer pressure, don't even get me started. Peer pressure comes in so many different forms, and it be so biased. Like what she's saying, like if somebody's trying, like if two people are fighting and they're like their friends are involved, you know they're gonna be peer pressured to fight. Or relationships, if like people are dating and their friend groups are involved, they're getting peer pressure to break up with each other. Like, it's
You
just
gonna let him say that to you? Are you for real? You're
Like,
not gonna
if-
do nothing more. Like, oh my god.
like if I'm venting to my friends about something that happened with a friend or a relationship, and they're telling me like, oh, you should stop talking to him, you should break up. No, I'm
Girl,
not
no,
doing
because
that. It's never that serious.
Because are you the one that's him? Let me know.
You.
Because do you know something I don't? Let me find out.
Ooh. We get a defense up in here.
Right.
Ladies.
Okay,
Ladies.
please,
I'll
but,
take-
Let's be demure.
But yeah, to add on to what Emily said, I feel like just like teachers like letting like the kids know that they're a safe place and that they can come to them and talk to them is a really good way to start, because I have a couple teachers that I can think of, including Mr. Diaz, that I can go to whenever like I'm feeling like very intense emotions. And also feel like teachers sharing their experiences can really help the kids, in the sense that like they'll see that they're not the only ones going through something, or the only ones that have went through something. Like, the teachers have went through something too, because some people will like really admire teachers and look at these teachers like they're like, we know that their life is not perfect, but sometimes like the initial thought of looking at some teachers is like, oh, like I just really admire them. But then when you find out deep down like what they have been through, it's like, oh, like really? So I feel like even just them sharing their experiences will let students know that they're not alone.
I definitely think that this school should maybe like make a whole little group during lunch and like just vent and talk about these things that happen to everybody, but people pretend that it doesn't happen for some reason. Like, yes, y'all are being bullied. Yes, y'all talk a lot of crap. Y'all, like, yes, we all go through these different things, and we pretend like it doesn't happen, but it does. And maybe some people don't really like the one-on-one conversation with the teacher, but maybe they would like it if it was a group, you know,
With
like
their friends.
Yes, with their friends, and they're all agreeing, and it just helps. Like, yeah.
It's also really good to feel, because I've had moments where I was avoiding feelings that I knew I was feeling, but because I wanted these feelings to go away so fast, I was kind of just like putting them to the side, or telling myself like, I'm done, I'm not feeling this way anymore. But as it kept like reoccurring, I just really just started to come to terms with these feelings. Like, they're not going away, I have to deal with them. So let yourself feel. Don't let yourself react based on feelings though. Like, let yourself feel first and then react later.
Clock that. What advice would y'all give to someone in middle school or high school struggling to fit in? The exhale.
I'm gonna go for middle school me, because in middle school I had a lot of trouble having friends. I've always been this person that has very few friends, and in middle school I would see these huge friend groups and I would feel jealousy because I wanted to be them so badly. And at one point I did end up being in a really huge friend group, and that just all fell out, and I just felt lonely again. And I wish that I would have just learned that being alone is okay, because being alone and being lonely is two different things. Being lonely is that you don't even find your comfort in yourself. But I did find comfort in myself, but I just didn't want to be seen alone so that people don't think that I'm lonely. But I just had to stop. I wish I would have stopped thinking that being seen alone is something bad, because it doesn't mean you're lonely. It just means that you are comfortable with yourself and just being yourself, your authentic self, you know?
I feel like, yeah, like based off of what Emily's saying, like you have to be okay with being by yourself. And I feel like sometimes people will like try to be friends with people to fit in or like to get exposure, but little do they know they have a little background character that's really have been there for them this whole time, and that has been their friend through everything, but they're not paying attention to this friend. They're like paying attention to the people who have more exposure. So you really need to be mindful of who's in your life and stick to them, because at the end of the day, they are going to be the most like, they're going to be your real friends. Like the ones that you were hanging out with for exposure are not going to be your real friends, because that's all they really care about. And then and for example, like if you're like in a friend group and they're like loud and obnoxious, but you're not really like that, of course you're going to feel very uncomfortable, because that's just not the way you swing. So it's like if your friend is more your comfort zone, like your friend that's sitting in the background, go to that friend, because at the end of the day you're only going to end up hurting yourself. So you really just have to do what you want, and if you do end up being by yourself, that's okay. Like that's fine. You're gonna find a friend eventually. Like you're not gonna be lonely forever.
Let me give a little disclaimer, because everything we saying right now, y'all don't gotta take it. Like we giving y'all the benefit, like y'all don't gotta take it. This is just advice, you know, because at the end of the day, y'all gonna do. Everybody here is gonna do what they want to do at the end of the day. So, since we're talking to the viewers, we finna end it off with the last question. If someone listening is struggling with peer pressure right now, what would you tell them?
Speak to someone that you know is always going to be there for you. Let's say, or if it's something really bad that they're kind of peer pressuring it to you, talk to a trusted adult, because kids, I know how teenagers, because I'm a teenager myself, we will kind of think that like something, we'll brush it off. We're like, oh yeah, no, that's nothing, and then we'll end up regretting it years later. So you have to talk to an adult that has gone through that, so that they could tell you the reality of how you actually feel about it years later. Like, don't just talk to your friends, but talk to people that have experience.
I feel like if you're dealing with peer pressure, well, first learn how to have self-control. Like learn how to be able to walk away from situations. And if you are in a situation where there's somebody in your life and you know that they peer pressure you a lot, you got to learn to tell them how you feel, as much as you like are not comfortable with it. Like use I statements or something. Like you got to let them know how you feel. And don't just ignore it either, because it can become a really, really serious situation. So you really just got to have self-respect, and you just got to know what you want for yourself. And in some situations, I tend to, like, before I do something, I tend to like think of all the outcomes in my head. So maybe next time you're being peer pressured, think of what the consequences can be for you, and then act based on those consequences. Like if you know that something bad could happen if you do something that somebody was trying to force you to do, then just don't do it, because at the end of the day, you're the one dealing with the consequence.
Yep.
Right.
Ate that.
Right. For me, to end it off, I feel like noticing where you are, like, do you even respect yourself? Like, are you, because if you don't respect yourself, you're gonna tolerate the peer pressure. You're gonna sit up here and like not defend yourself, or even if you see somebody that's your friend being peer pressured, you're not gonna stand up for that person. So if you do respect yourself enough, that's already like, you already have the path that you're able to defend yourself when you are being peer pressured. So if you're ever in the situation, just like, I feel like for me, walking away is the best option, because you don't need an answer out of me. Like I will go mute if I feel peer pressured, unless it's like I feel threatened to where like you finna put your hands on me, then
Ooh. Oh no.
right.
Absolutely not.
No touching.
No touch.
No touchy touchy.
Don't touch.
No touchy touchy.
Hands to yourself. Self-control.
Yes.
To everybody.
So my sis Emily is leaving.
Oh my goodness.
But
We gotta wrap
we
this
finna
up.
wrap this up real quick. Thank you guys for tuning in to the 8th episode. Come back for the 9th one. Bye, guys.
Bye. Have a good day.
Sorry that I got cut short.
Or a good night. I don't know.
Bye.
Bye.